everyone. Today's topic is Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The Wildlife Protection Act was enacted on 9th September 1972 by the Parliament of India in order to protect and conserve your animals, birds, plants and other creatures which comes under the category of your wildlife. So now we'll see this topic in a brief. This thing is, what is wildlife? So wildlife is collectively called as wild animals or any flora and fauna of a particular region or a native, that is called as your wildlife. So wildlife is traditionally refers to the non-domestic species, but it also includes your plants, fungi and other organisms that grow or live wild in an area without being introduced by humans. So wildlife is something where there is no interference of humans and there is no need of introduction by the humans for the plants or any type of animals. It is also called as your ecosystem. So your wildlife is also found in terms of your ecosystem. It also includes your deserts, forests, plains, grasslands and any other area where we have developed sites and where we can found number of distinct form of wild animals. It means the different types of species and animals. Next is constitutional provisional. So when it comes to India, the wildlife protection is very important in order to protect and preserve the environment. So we have article 48 which is there in order to protect and improve the environment and safeguard the forest and wildlife of any of the country. So whatever the rules and regulations are formed in terms of your protection of your wildlife, it comes under your article 48 of Wildlife Protection Act 1971. And there is one more article called as your article 51A subsection G, which is used in order to impose fundamental duty on the citizen in order to protect and improve their environment towards the wildlife. Okay, next here comes the needs of the Wildlife Protection Act. So wildlife protection is important in order to protect the wildlife of any of a country or a nation, because it constitute your environment, and environment is major factor and it is treated as a wealth of any of the nation. So wildlife not only includes your animals, but it also includes your birds, plants and other species also. As day by day humans are developing and their progress is getting improved, because of their own needs and wants, they are causing damages to the forests and wildlife. So in order to protect those damages and in order to safeguard the wildlife, this Wildlife Protection Act is came into limelight. So previously we had Wildlife Protection Act 1971, which was introduced in order to protect only a few number of wildlife species, that is your flora and fauna, which is listed as a special type of species. After that, Wildlife Protection Act 1972 was introduced under the Act of your 60 sections, and these 60 sections includes your 6 schedules, and these 6 schedules are having different types of 8 chapters. So this is done under the guidance of your central government as well as the state government, where central government and state government are having rights in order to declare any area of their own region or state as a wildlife sanctuary or as a national park. So next is, this Wildlife Protection Act provides the right of authority to administrator and implement the act, and they are giving rights to the authorities in order to regulate rules and regulations to protect the wildlife animals by way of hunting, and they can also having right to protect some specified plants, sanctuaries, national parks and closed areas which is not used in order to have trade or business purposes. So there are so many animals or plants or places which is used in order to make money by the human beings. So Wildlife Protection Act gave rights to all the administrative authorities in order to restrict such type of processes, and it also gives rights of prohibiting the hunting of animals. So without the permission of any of the authorized officers, no human being has rights to hunt any type of animals. It can be done only except some places where it is necessary to kill the animal which is going to be diseased, or because of which others animals or other part of living is going to be affected. So such type of hunting is prohibited, and there are certain cases which is done under the permission of the authorized officers. Next is objectives of the Wildlife Protection Act. So first one is it prohibits the hunting of your wildlife, wild animals, birds, etc. So and it is also providing rules and regulations in order to protect the same. And if anyone is violating the rules and regulations, they are having certain type of punishments. Next is it also provides security to animals that are not in danger of becoming exist. Here exist means which are not at the stage of existing. They are still, we can have the species of such type of animals. So all those animals are given a type of security there. The next thing is it also have restrictions over hunting of ducks and deers, because there are so many people who hunt these animals for the purpose of doing business. So there are district forest officers who are allowed to protect, and because with the license only they are there to hunt or shoot during a specified seasons and restricted area. So without, if anyone is cancelling or anyone is misbreaching the license of hunting, they may get imprisonment or they may have punishable acts under this Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Next thing is this also helps in order to cultivate your plant life and give teeth to setting up more protective animal parks. So this is the basic needs, basic objective of a Wildlife Protection Act, in order to cultivate the same type of plants and it protect the animals, parks and other type of sanctuaries. Then if anyone is sweeping powers to law enforcement authorities to punish anybody guilty under the act. If anyone is found guilty under this act, guilty under this act means if anyone has broken any rules and regulations under the Wildlife Protection Acts, then the concerned authorities are having all the rights to punish such persons. Next is it gives empowerment of, it gives power, empower the central government and state government to declare certain areas as sanctuaries or national parks. So Wildlife Protection Act gives rise to central government as well as state governments that they can declare any part of the area or region as a sanctuaries or as a national parks, which is restricted in order to only for the animals, and any and human beings are restricted to go there without the permission of any of the legal authorities. Next is features of your Wildlife Protection Act. So first is it defines wildlife related terminology. It provides the appointment of wildlife advisory board, wildlife wardens, their powers, duties, etc. So this under this, the first thing is they give appointment to wildlife advisory board. Here wildlife advisory board are the persons who are responsible in order to protect and preserve the animals and birds and other plants. So they, this advisory board will have a look over about the number of animals are living in the sanctuaries or in a national park. Then there are wardens who are there to take care of all those animals. So there are certain powers, duties which is given by the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Then it also helps becoming a part of your Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species of Fauna. So this came under this CITES Act 1976, which gives importance to species which are at the stage of endangered. Then it also support a launching of UNESCO, that is which is used in order to have a national components of UNESCO Men and Biosphere Program 1971. Then it gives a list of endangered species are mentioned, and for them there is our special rules and regulation in order to protect those endangered species. Then it also have a central zoo authority. Then there is a ban on trade and commerce in scheduled animals. For example, as we know that Salman Khan, a biggest actors of India, is got punishable for hunting the black buck in Rajasthan. So such type of bans are there on trade, on commerce in particular schedule of animals. Next, we can have definitions which comes under this section of this act under the section of 2. So first thing is animals. So animal here includes means any amphibians, any birds, mammals and reptiles and their young ones, and also includes in cases of birds and reptiles their eggs. And animals means an article made from any captive or wild animal other than vermin, and includes an article or object in which the whole or part of such animals has been used, an article made therefrom. So here animals includes any type of birds, amphibians, mammals, and reptiles, whether they are bird, whether they are reptiles, or whether they are egg providing animals. So all the species of animals comes under the terms called as your animals. Here what is vermin is? Vermin is a type of pest or a nuisance animals that spread diseases on the crops. It simply we can say that it destroyed the life of a crops. So here I have given an example of a wild rabbit which is treated as a vermin here. Next is hunting. So what is hunting actually? Hunting is capturing, killing, poisoning or snaring or trapping any wild animal and every attempt to do so. So if the process of capturing any of the wildlife, that is called as your hunting. So here I have given an example of a trap net used to trap birds. Next is taxidermy. So taxidermy is a process in which animal's body is protected in a natural form, and that is used as a portrait in a lifelike state. So taxidermy is a process in which the animals is preserved as it's naturally born, and it's all its natural characters are there in that process. So here I have given an example of a crocodile which is there in Philippines National Museums, and this crocodile looks like a live crocodile because this animal's body was protected under the process of your taxidermy. Next is trophy. What is trophy here is whole or any part of any captive or wild animal preserved by means whether artificial or natural. So here I can give examples of shells or any other things which we can protect, and that can be used as a biological specimen in order to have exhibitions, or which can be used in labs or your other scientific purposes. Next is antler. So what is antler actually? Antlers are animals with huge horns on their head. So this species is found in the family of your deer. So here I have given an example of your mature red deer stag and male fellow deer stag. So this deer family will have a musk on antler on their head, and musk is a category of deer family which that animal is used in order to make perfumery products. Next is uncured trophy. So this means that whole or any part of any captive animal which has not undergone a process of taxidermy. So it means that the animal is not protected after the death of that animal. So taxidermy, as I already told, it is a process in which a died animal's body is preserved in order to make it as a look like a alive animal. So uncured trophy is something where animal's part of the body or whole of the animal is not protected. Next is vermin. We have already seen this. And next is wildlife. So your wildlife again includes your animals, bees, butterflies, all other fish and other aquatic animals also. The next is wildlife protection. So this Wildlife Protection Act came into limelight on 9th September 1972, and in this before 1972 India had only 5 designated national parks, but after the implement of your Wildlife Protection Act we have so many different types of national parks as well as sanctuaries. So in order to have rules and regulations, we are having nearly 6 schedules, and all these 6 schedules have different rules and regulations. So now we'll see all these schedules one by one. Here we have a look on Schedule 1. So Schedule 1 is used for only for those animals which can be hunted only for the purpose of safeguard of human life, or those animals who are disabled, or those animals are in the sanctuaries or national parks with any type of diseases. So only those animals are allowed to hunt. Here I have given example of Salman Khan, and it is there that he got sentenced of 5 years of imprisonment in order to for hunting of a black bug. So your Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 is say similar because they are protecting animals only for the purpose of national parks or national sanctuaries. In this, animals are not allowed to hunt for any type of trade or business purposes. Next is your schedule 3 and schedule 4. So schedule 3 and schedule 4 is for those type of animals where it is there are no danger of endangered. They are not under the category of your endangered species. It means that there are large number of same type of animals available in the same type of animal family. For example, wild pigs, zebras, giraffes. So all these animals are not your endangered species. But even though they are not endangered, government are making rules and regulation to protect those types of animals. And if anyone is not following the rules and regulations under your schedule 3 and schedule 4, then they are equally punishable under those act. Next is schedule 5. The schedule 5 is declared for animals of vermin family. So only 4 species of wildlife, that is common crow, fruit bats, mice and rats, are permitted to be hunted. So all these animals are those animals which are very risky in order to make crops and cultivation process. So those animals who will damage the crops or cultivation process in order to safeguard the agriculture, these animals are allowed to kill or allowed to hunt under your schedule 5th. Next is schedule 6. So here certain specified plants are there which can be used for trade purposes or some type of possession. It also includes your medical plants as well as your agricultural species of your plants and animals. Next is ownership. So here what is ownership is? Ownership is issue and trade license. So here some of the persons are hunting animals for the purpose of trade. For example, cows are used in order to get leather. So that type of business are called as your trade licenses business, and that comes under the ownership section 40 and section 42. Next is penalties. So penalties comes under your section 51. So penalty is something which is charged in the terms of fines for breaking the rules and regulations under your Wildlife Sanctuaries Act, and this penalties are given by the Forest Department, Police, Customs or your Central Bureau of Investigation. So before giving any punishable act, the Forest Department will prepare a charge sheet of all the penalties chargeable to a person under the guidance of your Wildlife Protection Act. Next is sanctuaries. So sanctuary is an animal sanctuary is a facility where animals are brought to live and to be protected for the rest of their lives. Then what is national park? So national park is a parks usually made in order to protect the conservation of natural environment like your wild animals, birds, plants, everything.